Hey, and welcome to the Fabric of Culture podcast, episode 7, where I interview different creatives, get insights on how they got started, and help you apply that to your own life. All right, man, Tomahawk, introduce yourself.
My name is Tomahawk Jonez. I'm a producer, songwriter, performer from the hip hop collective Cure for Paranoia.
So, first question I have for you, man, is like earlier on when you first started, what musicians inspired you? What got you into hip hop? What,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good place to start. Um, I remember very, very early on, like my first favorite rapper was DMX.
Oh, nice.
Like he stole the show for me.
What was it about DMX?
It was, I don't know, being a kid that, man, I graduated from the suburbs, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So how can a Mexican kid from the suburbs identify with somebody like DMX?
Yeah.
But that was what was so special about him,
Mm-hmm.
is that a lot of people identify with him, even though he had a completely different past or whatever. I remember reading his biography in like 2 days, back then. But I think one of the pivotal moments where like the light bulb went off in my head seeing DMX was when he performed at the Woodstock 99 concert.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a one-man show, bro. And in his overalls, Rough Riders out, anthemed out. And he had as much energy or more energy than full rock bands.
Yeah.
And that, to me, superseded everything else.
Do you think I'm curious. Do you think that's something like it's missing from some hip hop? Because I know there's certain people I see they carry that stage. It's like they have the energy, they have like the presence where it feels like they're their own one man show, and then sometimes it just feels like lip singing.
But yeah, definitely. So I think performance-wise,
Mm-hmm.
that's always been a problem in hip hop,
Yeah.
or whatever. Like I cut my teeth, like in like the rock band genre, doing a couple tours and learning from that work ethic, which is completely different than hip hop
Yeah.
touring or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You have bands doing hour and a half shows, carrying tons of equipment across the United States, and hip hop acts pull up and they want to pop in a track with their words behind it and perform the same song 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the vast difference in worlds is like so illuminating, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
we opened for 21 Savage one time in the hip hop group Kid for Paranoia, opened up for 21 Savage in Lubbock, and it was right when bank account was popping. So the kids there were so frustrated because they showed up hours and hours in advance, right? And they want to see 21 Savage,
Mm-hmm.
but instead they got 12, 15 opening acts, and they were underaged, so they weren't drinking, and they're just like waiting for him to come on, waiting for him to come on, waiting for him to come on. Finally, we go on main support. You know what I'm saying? That was like the worst response we ever got.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So we cut our short set.
How bad was it?
It was just like, bro, like you could just tell they were just ready for him or whatever.
Yeah.
And we don't want to interfere with that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like they threw shit at us.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
good.
but it made us very uncomfortable.
Mm.
So we cut our set short, hopped off stage, watched 21 Savage do the same song a few times in a row, then bounce with his bag. And of course, afterwards, all the fans, they came up to us, they bought merch and they apologized. But, they were literally on their feet for 10, 12 hours waiting for 21 Savage, and they're getting fed a bunch of these opening acts.
Was he late, or was it just that they didn't understand how much wait time there would be?
Well, that's not a typical show.
Mm.
You don't have that many opening acts on a typical show. And I might be exaggerating a little bit, but for that, leg of the tour or whatever, I think people either bought on or, had some way to finagle their way.
Yeah, I got you. Because I feel like, yeah, it's probably usually every time I've waited, it's been like 5 or 6. And when I've seen the people before, there's some I'm not feeling, some I just absolutely fall in love with, and I'm glad I came early. Sometimes I regret not coming early because I'll miss out on people I didn't know I'd enjoy. But going back to the performance thing, I remember I didn't see JPEG Mafia live, but I saw like a recording of his, like one of his sets at some festival, and it was like 20 minutes into an hour set, and it looked like he went all out. It looked like he had just ran like a marathon, like how hard he was going, how hard he was rapping his songs. Like I felt the energy through. I was like, I need to check out more of this guy's shit because I just heard that energy.
Some people are just built as performers,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Some people cut their, are pride, cut their teeth that way, but also like find pride in their performance as a front man. They're great front man that are normally rock and roll singers for some reason or whatever. David Bowie's and the, Freddie Mercury's and the, it list can go on and on or whatever, right? Iconic people, and you just don't have that same presence, that same energy in the hip hop world. I feel. I mean, sometimes it's there and it's rare.
Yeah.
Like a Kendrick Lamar will blow anybody's mind.
Yeah.
No backing tracks, amazing breath control, switches the style up. The production of the show's crazy, you know.
Do you think it's a thing where I guess the money and like all the high praise because everyone's hyping you up there, like I don't really have to work for it? Or
go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I'll say I really don't know because that's not me. My brain doesn't think that way. I think maybe some people just don't think that's an important part of the whole package. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like this whole music thing's funny as it is, bro. It's really just like a stepping stone. What it seems like to me, at least, you know, people start here and go somewhere else, or start somewhere else, use this as a pivot and you know, to broaden their audience, and then go somewhere else. But it's like not the end all be all for most people, right?
Yeah.
Like they get their bag and then they invest it and do something greater. Or they get the majority of their money somewhere else, or a lot of people that actually make it have that investment money before they even made it. They're already rich before they even try music.
True. Yeah. Because what Jay-Z has multiple businesses. Rihanna has like fashion. Like I think she has makeup too, doesn't she?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
they're billionaires, bro. And let's go back to DMX, one of my like favorite performers of all time. Like his first like 5 albums went #1, right off the top in a row, and he made more money off of one movie than all those albums combined.
It's crazy, yeah. So I can see how that could tempt you if you're not enjoying like the spirit of performing or just music in general.
But me, bro, I love performance. So I'm like right now I'm playing the backseat as producer, playing MPC, doing some background vocals or whatever. But I fronted my own groups before, and I'm the type of dude to crowd surf. I'm the type of dude, you know, end up on the floor, bloody afterwards for whatever reasons, whether I smack myself with a mic on accident or if I just overly committed to a jump or whatever. You know, I love it. I love it, bro.
Did you already have that like persona in you, like the I'm a performer, or did you slowly develop it?
It came out on stage. You know, I started doing music when I was a teenager, and then like I was in a rock band. I like opened up for Fall Out Boy. Like,
what was the rock band?
2010 era. I'm not even talking about that right now. We're not talking about no old names or nothing like that. I don't want to give nobody in the band, you know, extra.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Oh,
but it was just local, bro. You know, I was a hyper local rock band. One of my first performing live, and I ended up there accidental. I wanted to be like in a more roots type situation where I'm like a rapper and I got a band behind me, but I didn't understand at that point musically that there's way different styles of live music. Yeah. So just because you got a drummer behind you, don't mean you're gonna sound like Questlove.
Oh yeah. There's like different levels to it.
Definitely. And like now it's like way more common to see like the emo shit mixed with, you know, some of the underground hip hop stuff. But back then it was weird.
Oh yeah, it was definitely weird back then, and I enjoyed it, but I guess people didn't get it. They're like, scratch your head. Even like the backpack rap, they're like, wait, what the hell is this?
And that was my favorite shit, bro. I love the backpack rap. And then, you know, after I graduated high school, I got into some of the emo shit or whatever.
I was like a zigzag because when I was younger, my family listened to like a lot of gospel, jazz, and R&B, and then I listened to a lot of pop, but I still like had that stuff quartering my brain.
Right.
And then I went into like EDM and like emo hard, like in high school. So like any metal alternative, that was my jam if I wasn't like electronic music.
Right.
And then after high school, that's when I like heavily got into rap. So I went around in circles and I started developing. Oh, I love everything.
That full 360.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. There's so many different areas that you can enjoy.
Good music is good music, regardless of genre. Yeah.
How do you, as an artist yourself, how do you show people that in your performance? Like, say they come in, they're just coming for a drink, or they just.
Man, that's like the name of our game. Yeah. Like, seriously, bro. Like, we're the underdogs. You know, we get put on bills, like, not as bad as the 21 Savage, because a lot of times people are open-hearted and open-minded, especially if they're big music fans or whatever. But we got put on in front of Nas before. That was one of my favorite shows ever. Got put on in front of Ludacris before. Got put on in front of George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic or whatever, you know what I'm saying? P-Funk. And that's like so different. Everybody was in their chairs, but you know, we're out there, we're authentic. We lay our hearts out there, have our hearts on our sleeves. And my front man's amazing. Cameron McLeod, amazing rapper, like mini Andre 3000. So there's just a way we end up connecting, man. And you can't argue with that. Unless you're opening for 21 Savage. then they got the
They got the blinders on.
They got the blinders.
Who was it? It was It was like that's who it was. When Drake came out for Tyler the Creator, it's just like the genre was completely clashed. Everyone's like, why? The people in that crowd just weren't feeling
It's
it.
not fair, man. And
Yeah.
even like when Future went on tour, Kendrick,
hmm
you hear stories about either crowd leaving the other person's show or whatever, and it being half empty or more than that. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the name of the game. You can't
hmm
please everybody. Neither should you try.
Yeah. Create your own lane, basically.
Yeah, man. Stay true to yourself. Do what you love, and when you put it out there, some people are gonna fuck with it, and some people aren't. Focus on the ones that do.
I feel that. As a new artist, how do you create your lane with like work ethic, networking, like just putting in that time, or
Yeah, man. As a new artist, it's been a while since I've been a new artist.
Yeah,
but I still
yeah.
feel I know, but like you know how the music industry is. You're a
Mhm.
new artist, you break and like, oh, it's a new artist that's been doing this for 10 or 15 years,
yeah.
but they brand new. You
Mhm.
know.
Oh yeah, I know you're not. I wanted them to learn from you.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
no, absolutely. But as a new artist, commit to your craft. I mean, that'd be my first
Yeah.
advice. Commit to your craft. Don't get blinded by a lot of people are in this music stuff, especially in the more hip hop lane or urban lane for the fame
hmm
more than the art.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about that in the last show, like an hour ago, where there's certain photographers where they're like, it's all about they were focused on money and they're not working on their craft,
Mm-hmm.
and so they get blinded by they'll take things that aren't worth your time, or that aren't doing you any favors,
Right.
are hindering you.
Yeah, they're not pushing you forward as a
hmm
creative,
hmm
but it's for a trade off. Everything has an exchange, and most of the time it's for money. But
Yeah.
a lot of these kids are people nowadays don't even want the bread; they want the attention.
hmm
You know,
The attention, the clout, the
just
fame,
the
the
attention.
cheers.
Why?
Yeah.
This shit's corny to me.
Yeah, that doesn't get you anywhere. I would rather they enjoy what they're doing, have fun with it, and then those things come with what they're doing. Because you can tell the artists where they're just doing it for fun, or they're doing it for the art of it. They're
Right.
doing it to express themselves. Then
hmm
you can feel it in the music.
And nothing's wrong with either of those things.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah,
a creator. Everybody's allowed to do those things or
yeah.
whatever. But when you step into, the ring
hmm
with the different gladiators or whatever, expect to get your head chewed off.
Exactly. Because I mean, there's certain artists in every genre that I fuck with, and there's some you can kind of tell their energy, but they still, even if they maybe their goals change, say
Mhm.
they like change to money,
Right.
I can still tell they put an effort in their craft. Like,
Initially to support that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like they're already at a certain level where they can shift their focus. Okay,
exactly.
I'm built up to here, and now I gotta make my focus monetary. I get
hmm
that. We have expensive taste and stuff, and
Yeah, and even some of them they managed to. I don't know how you could do it because I couldn't imagine the switch over, but they managed to balance both. Where they're still, it's like they're expressing themselves, talking about how they're dealing with these problems that I couldn't understand. Like
right,
I'm not making the money they are,
right,
but it still somehow sounds relatable. You're like,
yeah.
how do you do this?
Balance, man, and just
Yeah.
being like a great good communicator. Like I
hmm
think when you're a good writer,
Yeah.
like you can say things people relate to, even if they're in different worlds or whatever.
I,
Just because I didn't like my lobster, that doesn't mean you didn't like your cheeseburger earlier. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, true that. how how would you become a good writer, or what other than the obvious of writing? How would you, I guess, self audit or fix that when you see your writing?
I think every like you talking about the self auditing and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool and but just like the
hmm
practice of just do it. You can be whatever you want to be as soon as you do it. You're not a painter until you lay down your first stroke.
Yeah.
You can be a professional musician as soon as you get paid for your first gig. So I think with writing, it's just put in your reps, get your practice down. One of my favorite things to do is to actually do songwriting circles or put myself in a collaboration position. Um, because you learn from better people and people can learn from you.
What's a songwriting circle?
It's basically like when you have multiple artists working on one song. So you're
Okay.
bouncing ideas off of each other versus just being in your room doing it yourself. So what's this
Okay.
next lyric? What's this next melody line or whatever? That's some of the most fun things you can do that helps you grow fast.
Yeah.
You know.
I forgot his name, but there's this. I think it's like Connor something on Instagram, but he was talking about like he had a song and he loved it, and then one of his other musician friends like, nah, like this part's wrong, and he's like more bass, and then he added that, and then someone else, one of his other friends added this, and he's like, this is what I wanted the whole time. I just did it, like it didn't click for me.
Right, man. And that's like I preach that all day long. I come from a very tribal place when it comes to music. Like my clique is my clique. I work with a lot of different musicians on a lot of different projects. We produce for other artists besides ourselves. And then we just collaborate and learn how to trust people. I'm not the greatest keyboard player in the world, but my homie plays for Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
So I can call him in. Shout out to Quentin Gray. And, get whatever style I wanted, way more advanced than I could ever do myself by calling them in.
Yeah.
But then there's also, appreciation for the simplicity. I've heard at least that a lot of the greater producers don't play, so they're not biased to different instruments. My production partner is a drummer, so his snares pop a little loud.
Oh,
What
yeah.
I'm saying?
So it's like that bias leaks in, but it's still
yeah, definitely. So what were we talking about? Collaborating, songwriting, growing as a writer.
Yeah,
So yeah, man. So just like also like with me personally, I know like everybody is good at a few, can specialize in a few things. You can be good at a broad spectrum, but you specialize in a couple of things. So when you're that gear in that machine, play your part. It's okay if you only do this and the next person does this and the next person does this. They all have different talents in different areas. And if everybody's at their peak doing what they do best, you know what I'm saying? I got a dopest bass player over here laying out my bass lines. I got a dope hook writer over here doing this. I got somebody working on melodies over here. They're all specialty people in their craft. So that song's gonna sound like on 10 in every area instead of just one.
For someone,
or has the potential to.
For any artist, really, like this goes beyond like musicians. How do you accept that it's probably better off if you have that tribe instead of pushing people away? It seems like some people let pride get in the way.
It's an ego thing, bro. It truly is an ego thing, and it's a thing as an artist you struggle with so deeply because all that ego stuff, it really cuts through in this world. People react to it. If I'm amped up like Kanye on this interview or whatever, and for some reason, has a soundbite and goes viral or whatever, it's because I'm amped up and I got the energy and I'm feeling myself or whatever, and I can portray that to whoever I'm looking at, right? I got this, that just by the way I'm carrying myself. But as somebody has their ego in check, you kind of fall back some, so people don't like gravitate towards you the same way.
Yeah.
And that sucks, but it ultimately, at the end of the day, makes everything else easier. I can fall back and be like, yo, I know I can't do this best, or even something doesn't have to be better than something else. It can just be different.
Yeah.
So which different lane do you want to land in? Like a lot of our success with Cure has been because of the neo soul. It has been because of playing Badu's birthday parties and stuff. So I'm gonna lean on my funkier, more soulful musicians as we progress
to capture that spirit.
Yeah, instead of me trying to push my stuff and my genres into what we do. It's like, if that's working, let's do that. And of course we can grow outside of it and do it differently, but don't neglect it because it's working.
Yeah. So it's accepting where you're at and like what's working, but also enjoying that and the other things. So you can like dabble in other things you want to try,
Right,
like, as passion projects,
exactly,
and then focus in on what's working.
And then you have to understand, when you're working with 5-10 different people or whatever, you're doing so many things simultaneously. So a lot of things are happening at once. You know what I'm saying? You're putting out, maybe you wait 2 weeks to put out 10 songs, but that's better than spending 1 week on one song.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So you're basically building a farm. You got a field. You got all these different songs like building up and growing.
Yeah, and I think about like also like some of my favorite artists and their recording processes, and like some of my favorite albums and where they were made and how they were made, and a lot of them come from that same type of community. Look at like Kanye, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Or any of his other albums or whatever, but that one in particular, where they're in Hawaii in a special area and they have producers and artists flying in all the time, and they're just all around each other, and they have different stations set up and they're passing stuff back and forth, and it's beautiful, man.
Another good example is just Atlanta in general, where it's like it seems like they have this tribe of just people like, hey, I fuck with you, you fuck with me. We're making songs, and just kind of it works.
It's a real organic scene.
Yeah, it's organic, exactly.
And like to go like somewhere like more like on the nose with Atlanta, it's like if you think about that Dreamville record, the Revenge of the Dreamers, like their one or whatever, and you can actually, we get to look underneath the skirt and stuff, and we see how they actually did it, and it was the same thing. They flew in a bunch of people, and they had a bunch of rooms open, and they're all working simultaneously.
You could hear it in every song, but the song that I think of when I like think about that album was Wells Fargo.
Oh yeah,
because it's like it's so good, but you can just tell they're just fucking around. They're just all vibing.
Bro, they were having
but
so
they're
much
putting
fun.
in work.
Yeah,
putting in work, but it's fun work.
And they're
like,
competing with each other too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good way to go about it, and that I feel like that just works more in general.
And like, we're like a lot of people that are in this industry are like 1 degree away from their heroes. So we get
Hmm.
to, get to hear some of the behind the scenes experiences that,
Yeah.
let those things happen. For example, world famous Tony Williams, amazing artist or whatever, just dropped a album this year or whatever that we were fortunate enough to contribute to. Um, as people know, he's been on every Ye record or whatever, contributed so many different songs, plus more that we never will ever get to hear. Um, you got to see all that process before, firsthand, being
Yeah.
Ye's first cousin.
Yeah.
And while working on that project, he implemented some of those same theories and stuff or whatever, and it was really, really cool.
How do you, with people like that who are like 1 degree away from someone else who understands the game,
Or
understands
masters of the craft that are like,
masters the craft? Yeah.
yeah,
How do you take away and like implement that into your music, or how do you like take, hey, like that's something I want to try out that.
absolutely, bro. Like, just like what I was talking about before, he called people from different states and stuff. They flew in and we had our studio, then we took our living room and turned it into another studio. Then we took like our dining room, turned that to another studio, and I think we had one other setup as well. And
Oh
we're working
dang.
out 4 tracks at once or whatever with a bunch of different musicians in the house or whatever. And we did smaller things to that effect before, but
Mhm.
never
On
all
that
at once.
level.
Yeah.
Mm.
So like just him wanting that and him being in that experience before or whatever, we actually did it. So now that's something like when we work on bigger projects, we'll probably re-implement.
How do you do that without it being disjointed? Is it just there's someone at the top who understands how to make those things flow?
That's a good question, bro. Because there was actually when we first started that whole session, when 4 different producers in 4 different rooms and everything, and we weren't getting as much work done as we needed the first like day.
Yeah.
And Tony had to like sit us back and be like, have a pep talk. It was like, this is what we've done. This is what I've done before. This is what y'all guys need to do. And it was basically about like owning your craft and like having
Mm.
the foresight to like, all right, cool, y'all working on that. I have stuff to contribute to. Let me go get that going in the other room. So with the you were talking about before, like how do you compare yourself to those masters or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And how do you take stuff they do? So by comparing myself, maybe I feel like I'm not as good or as worthy to do the same thing. So I fall back. But then after the pep talk, I'm like, yo, he's been there before with different producers, top of their game. So my idols and stuff. And I'm in the room with him. So I deserve to be in this room with him. So let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, a whole other
I'm here
setup.
for a reason, so let me
Yeah.
implement my shit into
So I
this.
went to go implement my shit while
Yeah.
he did his shit in the other room. My homies and my other homies working somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, man. And it was like, oh man, I'm so proud of that project. And people only got to hear half of it so far because there's gonna be a deluxe version.
Okay.
A fish without a bicycle.
When's the deluxe coming out?
I don't know
Oh,
yet.
okay.
But man, like probably my favorite track I ever worked on before, at least top 2, is gonna be on the deluxe version.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, co-writing with Ty Dolla Sign and Earth Gang's on the hoe and
Oh shit, I
come
fuck with
on,
Earth Gang
come
heavy.
on.
Well, I fuck with both of them heavy, but like
Yeah.
Earth Gang, there's something. The first time I discovered them was, which is why I like shows like Tiny Desk, like Color, stuff like that, because it's just throwing like new artists your way that, especially with Colors, there's like people I wouldn't expect to enjoy. There's like some random French artists I've never heard of, some artists from Spain, some artists from here, and you're like, oh, like they put their all into the performance, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the performance. They're putting their all into this one show, and they're showing you, hey, this is my song, and then you feel it. Because Earth Gang, what was it? I forgot the song, but a lot of people like that live performance better than the original, the other song, because
that happens a lot,
yeah,
man.
they put in the work, like the energy was there.
Yeah. And that's like somebody that you could describe as like a master of the craft as a live performer, right? Where they're
Mhm.
like they're stagemen.
Yeah,
But like when we're listening to the records in a studio, that doesn't translate the same
Mhm.
way. And then we get to see them on something like Colors, like, yo, I fuck with that. And that's why, because they're amazing at being live performers. You can see them as live performers on that.
do you think there's like a? I'm sure you do. I want to double check. There's like a huge difference between like people who like send like the audio or send like their beats or their raps over instead of like being in studio.
Yeah, man, it's just a different or like an organic thing. There's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
with either or whatever.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
But like when you're in person, like did you hear the? Of course you did, but did you hear the Drake J Cole track that just
That's
dropped?
exactly what I was thinking of.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And it's knowing that they were in the studio together, right?
Mhm.
You get a vibe off each other. You get to bounce ideas off each other. You get to feed off energy. You get to see synergy. You get to, you. That's real shit, man.
Yeah, you could tell like they were fucking with it. They had the energy together. Like, okay, let's
So
make something.
so pre-internet shit like has that
Yeah.
feel to it or whatever,
Mhm.
and that's like bands and shit too. Like they're in the studio and they're working together with that synergy, and it translates. And when you're just sending stuff back and forth, being like I'm super introspective and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But being like off my own little world and just sending stuff back and forth, not having that human interaction, you miss out on some of that stuff.
Yeah. Is it like the energy, the chemistry, or is it
Yeah,
just?
man, the collaboration, the
Mhm.
vibe, the moment. You live in the moment, and you get to create that with somebody else, so it makes it different. Like when two different people or three different people can like vibe off that moment and like reflect back on it or whatever. You hear different aspects of that story. You see different camera angles and shit. But when it's just like you by yourself, same shit. You know what I'm
Oh yeah.
saying?
Mhm. I was thinking about this earlier when you talked about, I guess, respecting the music that you don't understand. 'Cause I remember, or just pride in general. 'Cause I remember, I think it was like a day or two ago, Soldier Boy reacted like J Cole. It was like an interview Soldier Boy did with Lil Yachty and I forgot the other guy's name, but it's his podcast, and they were talking about how J Cole didn't understand music in general, like certain genres that came up, like Soldier Boy
Right,
or
right,
like Little John. Like it wasn't his style, but
right.
he slowly learned to like, hey, this isn't me, but like I understand that this is good music too. Like I respect it.
It's important to grow,
Yeah.
and shout out to Soldier Boy. We just played with Soldier Boy at Legacy Hall last week.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool experience.
Oh, how like what went on that night?
We're not. I mean, we just performed, bro. It was
Oh
cool
yeah,
that the
yeah.
Rangers, won that night or whatever.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
want to get
yeah,
away
yeah.
from your question or anything, but just since we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
Soldier Boy or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. No, but I definitely identify with that, especially with like when it's older heads or like people that are, you know, purist or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like some stuff's like ignorant or like below them or whatever. And you don't listen to it personally, it doesn't mean somebody else can't love it. And you can understand. I mean, I can understand why people love that shit.
Yeah.
It's just not something I
Yeah. Some of the
turn on
stuff.
all the time. Sometimes I feel ratchet. I want to turn it on, but most of the
Mm-hmm.
time I don't. Most of the time I just want to like listen to some Radiohead, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that.
You know?
It's and it's a, what do you call it? It's like a recycling and repeat, like over and over again. Where it's like, what is this like devil rock worshiping music, and then what is this here, and then what is this next genre, and
And
it
then
just
you get
keeps
to see
on
the
happening.
fusions and that we
Yeah,
didn't get to see before.
and it just keeps on happening over again. So I wonder. I don't know. I feel like people should get deja vu when like their parents were telling them, "Hey, this music is weird," and then you're like, "Don't you remember when your parents told you that
Right.
your music was the devil or like weird or like bad?"
Yeah, it
And
happens with music, happens with fashion.
yeah,
It's
fashion
it's the
too.
same shit. It's the same shit.
But
People
it's developing over and over again. It's growing and making cool or unique things.
Yeah, and then some stuff becomes like just like I don't know, staples or like classic shit. So it's not rotating anymore. It's just like there all the time.
Yeah.
You know, how some stuff goes in and out of style, and some stuff is just there all the
hmm
time. That will never go out.
Yeah. Some stuff is just like always classic, but then there's other things where
They ride in trains and they're going like this or
yeah.
whatever. So,
And I feel there's always there's those couple people who get a sense of like when that thing's coming back and they start pushing it, and then everyone else just dives on in.
but really, what's like your favorite shit though? Like it's like to me, it's like the people that try to live in the future. So they try
Yeah.
to create that future sound that catches up later, but
Yes.
it's like 20 or 30 years later, bro.
Everyone starts clicking it.
Think
Oh, that
think
was
think
amazing.
about Outkast or think about Timberland. Like I saw an interview the other day where Genuine recorded Pony 9 years before his record deal.
Wait, what?
Genuine recorded Pony 9 years before his record deal. So that song was 9 years old
Oh,
or longer
geez.
before we even heard it. And that
That's
shit
crazy.
still sounds modern today. That bass line still is
Yeah.
just like,
People are still feeling that. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. A certain song like that where even no matter when it comes on, people are still vibing, still energized to it, they're dancing, going
And I think
crazy.
Timberland was one of the people that always looked for the future. Missy,
hmm
the same way, always looked to the future. So like maybe their stuff was weird back then, and people were getting it, but not to the extent they get it now.
Yeah, it just started to click for some people where.
The music just started to catch up to them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like 30 years later and shit. That's crazy to me. So those type of people are inspiring. So I'm never trying to like be on trend or whatever.
Yeah, you're trying to. Well, in that case, how do you create your own way? How do you have the confidence that whatever you're doing
is going to stand the test of time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is try to make timeless music. Like you don't know if it's going to, but you attempt to. So what makes things timeless? You know, what's something you can hear from like the 70s or the 60s that's popping just as much today. So like you kind of like use those type of songs as your meter versus, you know, Billboard Hot 100 that's gonna last for, you know,
so
2 weeks.
the things that have already stand the test of time.
Yeah,
they're like the blueprint for what will stand the test of time.
That's what you're comparing yourself to. You're not comparing yourself to these trendy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
On I guess the internet right now, you're going back to these people that had legacies because you want to have a legacy as an artist, and I think that's what makes some of these better artists stand out is that they're playing the long game. They're not worried about overnight success.
But I guess for me, it's a tricky thing because I can see how some of those artists, they want to create those things, but maybe they fall into that trap of what if I never make it? You know, like how some like painters or some authors, no one knew about their work, and then once they die, everyone's like, this is one of the most amazing things ever.
Yeah, man, that's what put you on like crazy. Yeah. Anybody, bro. Look at like the top streaming artists on Spotify. They're all dead, bro.
Yeah. And so I think it's that fear of I'm never gonna make it while I'm breathing. Like they start slipping into those trendy things. How do you prevent that, or how do you do both?
But what's making it though? You know what I'm saying? Like what do you consider making it?
I guess for them, making it just might be. It depends on the person, but I'm assuming it might be a range of just being able to live off your music.
Exactly.
But I think some people fall in the trap of pushing further.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, so if you're able to pay your bills off your music and make your living off your art or whatever, to me, that's a success. That's a win.
Yeah,
you made it. You can do more than that, obviously. But if you did that, at least, yo, kudos to you because most people can't do that.
Yeah.
Are not doing that.
Do you think people who not only focus on the quality, but focus on those like songs that stand the test of time could make it in their lifetime, or would they have to just be patient hope?
No, it could happen to anybody, bro. Yeah. I mean, to me, we're talking about music specifically. Like right now, the game is so kind of crazy and fucked up, but it also makes sense when you think about commerce and stuff. It's like talent don't mean shit.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Marketability, you know, right now, and people are able to market themselves before a label touches them, and they put a battery in their back and let them go or whatever. But
it's almost like a catch-22 because there's certain people where the talent is definitely there, but say someone remixes their song or does one of those like crazy TikToks, and then there's one guy I listened to. He's like a kind of like indie pop, like rock, and he had a song, and he understands that framework of just living for your music and creating it on its own. And someone like fast sped up his song, and it blew up, and he was out building a cabin in Alaska so he could like make his music however he wanted.
Right.
But he's like, oh, I come back 2 years later and my song's blown up while I'm out making a cabin in Alaska. He's like, well, I made it and I have the things I want, so I can live off my art.
How you can speed up the rest of the songs, you know, and build more cabins.
Yeah. So that being said, I guess I'm dealing with that courage part because that's still
that leap of faith stuff.
Yeah.
Or that self-doubt stuff. Like everybody has self-doubt, bro. You gotta put it in the back of your mind, just do shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't focus on that. You know, if you really want to do something, you can't let nothing stop you, especially yourself, because that's really the only thing that can, right?
Yeah. So it's courage and work ethic.
You know, with me, bro, I struggle from a lot of anxiety, you know, like from very, very young on. And I noticed that a lot of times that shit will either dissipate or not even pop up if I'm prepared, like over prepared.
Yeah.
So over prepare yourself and watch how that shit disappears.
Okay, I feel that. I'm gonna take a little turn. For you, what are the struggles between like actual recording, like you talked about that group setting, in the studio compared to like a live performance?
Yeah. They're just different beasts, man. They're different beasts, and I think us as a band that has grown like from being like we used to walk on stage with a couple NPCs to have a couple aux musicians. Aux musicians is like a random, either it's a drummer or like a guitar player or saxophone, just like somebody, the third party come in to kind of add the live element. To the point now we're playing with like a 9 or 10 piece band, bro, full horn section, percussionist, keyboard player, background singers or whatever. So that live show is just like massive, and that energy doesn't translate on the records that we recorded with just 2 or 3 of us at the crib. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're both great, but they're great for different reasons. So
Yeah.
like my goals right now, my struggle right now is just taking that live aspect and making sure it translates properly to the recordings. And like one of the things we've done to contribute to that would be the Tiny Desk competition. You were talking about Tiny Desk earlier. We
Oh
actually
yeah.
we entered that whole last year. We didn't win, but we're like top 10, and we got to play one of their tour spots in Houston, and that show was killing. And people got to see our submission for that song,
Yeah.
and it was us live, on video for like recorded properly for, I won't say the first time, but one of the few times, and it's recent and stuff, and that it was a wave, bro. It caught on. So like just to capture that same essence over and over again would be like it for me.
Yeah. With moments like that, say you have an opportunity where like this shit counts.
Yeah.
How do you take advantage of that?
Showing up to war, bro. We just got all we
Yeah.
had to do. So like a lot of these opportunities, it seem like they happen because we got this email right now or got this text right now, but really they never would have happened if they didn't, like my production partner, my business partner, like I met like 10 or over 10 years ago or whatever. And I was a fly on the wall watching him work on one of my homies' records. And then I went to him with my project and we worked on records together. And then I went to another project and we worked on more records together. And then we started this group, with Cam, Cure for Paranoia, and then also do a bunch of other production together, to the effect where, man, what was the fucking question?
Oh shit! It was basically preparing for war. How do you
Oh
prepare
yeah,
for those moments when it counts?
that's what I was getting at, is that it was those past 10 years or the past 5 years of Cure for Paranoia where we've already played those shows together. We already crashed on each other's couches or whatever. We already spent years and years and years and years
Hmm.
like this.
Yeah, it was basically the preparation beforehand. It's like
Yes.
I got the skill set.
It wasn't what's happening right now. It was the battles that we did before,
Hmm.
and everything that we did before prepares us for exactly what we're going through today.
Say, hey, we already know how to kill it, so this is our
Yeah,
moment.
we've
Yeah.
killed it before,
Hmm.
so let's do it again, or let's do it bigger
Yeah.
because we're wiser now or whatever. We got more game now. We can't make the same mistakes anymore. We got a manager now. You know what I'm saying?
What's up? How did Cure for Paranoia like all link up? Like how'd y'all get started?
It was a beautiful story, man. My production partner JT was leaving his studio at the time, and I was getting into a room at this amazing building that's now torn down, where like it had scientific revolving glass doors and it had a glass pyramid inside in a theater. And it was like a tech company during the day, but after business hours, we'd all go in with our equipment, and that was like our studio.
Oh, nice.
So, we did a lot of work out of there. And then one day, Cam popped up and we started doing, features for him and for us as well. And eventually, that led to us going on a road trip together. And in that road trip together, I came with a bunch of beats I already was working on and stuff. And we were driving through Colorado, and Cam's, a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. So weed doesn't always agree with him the best. But we're driving through Colorado and we're smoking, and he was smoking too, and he was cool with it. Like we're on cloud nine, we're just playing beats and writing all at the same time. And I'm asking him, like, bro, like how are you doing this right now? Like, you don't do this. He's like, this right here is Cure for Paranoia. It's my Cure for Paranoia. And our eyes kind of got big and lit up at the same time. Like, yo, that's fucking dope. This is the Cure for Paranoia. Let's go back and do a project called Cure for Paranoia, make a song called Cure for Paranoia. We eventually had a show that was like Cure for Paranoia preview, but it was never supposed to be like the band.
Oh God, I love that.
But ended up being the band and the catalyst, and like that story, or just like the whole story of music being therapy, or somebody having mental struggles like that, then finding the cure in camaraderie or in the music or whatever. Like that was the story that made Cure for Paranoia successful. And that's something we haven't talked about earlier, is that a lot of times success has nothing to do with like what you're putting out. It's like the story behind it. Because like, for example, we came home with our with most of our first project from that trip. Like we wrote like almost a full album on that trip and came back. But it was that story that allowed us to, to get headlines. I literally did this, bro. Like I have my production group's called The Institute, and it's like supposed to be like broad, so nobody knows who it really is, and multiple
Mhm.
people can take credit for it. And then I had another group, an alternative hip hop group called Space Camp, and then I started Cure for Paranoia. And during this time, I was showing people these songs, right? And it'd be the exact same song, sometimes to the same person, just like a couple weeks apart from each other.
Yeah.
And I would just tell them, yo, this is the new Cure for Paranoia. They react one way. Like, oh, this is the Institute stuff I've been working on. They react one way. Oh, this is my Space Camp shit. They react completely different to the exact same song
Based on the story and the emotions behind it.
who was putting it out, whose name.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Cure for Paranoia by leaps and bounds, like got way more attention than anything else I ever touched. You know, and that story is just kind of golden or whatever. And you know, so I think people's stories super, super important. The way
Yeah.
the way they articulate them, you know, because that's what's gonna separate you. I mean, you have the same song. My story's a little cooler than yours. Guess who's gonna have the shine?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The cool story.
Or like a
Or
more
the more
relatable.
meaningful,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
more
meaningful. Whatever it
relatable,
is,
yeah.
whatever it is. But there has to be the story. You can't just be like, oh, music helps me. I love it.
It's
You know?
beautiful, I think.
Yeah, I was meant for this. I was built for this music shit. Cool, bro. So was 3 million other people.
It's all combining together. It's that story. It's the emotions behind it. It's telling your version. So, as someone starting out, like, how would you recommend? Like, if you say you already have a story, but you don't know how to package it,
Yeah.
how would you go about thinking about that?
Bro, lean on your seriously. I said this earlier. It's like lean on the experts. If somebody's really good at one thing and you're not that great at it, lean on them. When it was time to write our bio, our first one, guess what I did? I hired a writer.
Yeah.
From like a newspaper and shit. You know.
So for that, it would be a good idea to say you have a story like, I have these are the things I went through. Maybe have someone write that up for you,
Yeah.
like in a package.
You can
of a
bullet point.
story.
You have I think with our writer, we just had like a conversation like that. Then he went back and killed it.
Okay.
You know, but he was a professional writer, so he knew how to do that. And he wrote articles and shit, so he knew how to do that. And our first bio's not like an article because it was an article.
So leaning on those experts in their field.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the collaboration point where it's
goes back to collaboration points, and also goes back to like being an independent artist. Us as independent artists are so empowered, and we have the opportunity to do so many different things. We have access to all these amazing people, and they're the exact same people the labels have access to, and we probably can get them for a cheaper rate. So take advantage of that shit and go hire somebody to do the shit that you can't.
And by leaps and bounds, do you think it's better to be independent?
Me?
Yeah.
Personally, like my whole career and my lifestyle is based off of being independent, just because I want that gratitude at the end of the day, just because I want more control. I want to be able to put out songs when I want to be able to put them out. I don't want nobody to tell me shit, mostly, but also like, you know, getting the majority of that bread back. Owning my masters means a lot to me. And maybe, you know, it's only making me a few $1,000s now, but that shit compounds. And what's that going to be in 10 years from now?
It grows and grows. It's that trust.
Yeah.
Because I know that's the scary part. It's like trusting in whatever you're doing is the right thing, or trusting that, hey, like, I'm going to keep on pushing this. But like you said, if you keep on going, and if you're putting in the work and it's quality music, or you got those people around you, then it's gonna work.
But the label does basically, bro. They put you in positions with all these people that you already know. I mean, if you've done it enough or whatever, and they bill you for it, you know, you can do that on your own. You can go with your own loan. You can raise that bread by yourself. You know, you don't need that.
Wait, so that would just be it's connections and marketing, basically.
Marketing, big time.
Yeah.
But definitely connections as well. They have their whole rosters that they're linking people up with, so it's cool. And some people, if you don't feel like you have the confidence to do something like that, or don't have the connections you need, somebody to handle all that for you, maybe a label situation is better. No shade.
I feel that. What are some fun, like, behind the scenes moments, like with your band, like going on tour, or
fun tour moments with my band? Oh man, let me think. Everything. I mean, I love road life. I love tour life. Stuff's just so random out there or whatever. It's not necessarily the funnest moment, but for when you bring up tour, I'll always remember we're about to leave for tour with Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? And we're stopping in Denton on the way out. I think we were getting like some grub or something, but like the blocks popping and shit. So we had to go park 4 and walk away. And there was like some senile, I don't want to say homeless person, because I don't think he was homeless. He was kind of crazy street person or whatever. talking all sorts of crazy shit, man, like yelling at us. Like I said, this is not fun, but you brought up tour life.
Yeah.
So it was like me and my manager and maybe like 3 of my bandmates or some shit like that. And we're like walking spaced out from each other. And he's like yelling shit to everybody one on one. I'm gonna whoop your ass. They walk by. I'm gonna whoop your ass. They walk by. You know, I'm gonna do this. You know, me and my homie walked by, didn't say shit. Kept on walking. Then he yelled some other shit. Oh, I'll kill all of y'all right now, or something like that. And I started laughing. And when I started laughing, I think it offended him.
Oh no.
So I'm on this block, right? And we're like halfway at the block at this point, and he was walking down. He's over here still. So like by the time we make it to the end of the block, I hear faster and faster. Shit speeds up, right? And I thought my homie JT told me to turn around, but he didn't say shit. And my homie JT thought I said turn around, but I didn't say shit. And as I turn around, JT turns around with his fist, bruh. He turns around with his fist. So he turns around with the punch going in the air without even looking. And the dude's running full blast, jaw right into the fist, out cold in the street. He like his body just like went limp and out into the street on the sidewalk, and he just knocked him out cold, bro. And it's like, yo, he's supposed to be going out with Bone Thugs right now on tour and changing our lives. Why the hell is this happening?
Oh no.
Why the hell is this happening? But like people saw what happened or whatever. They came out. They're like, yo, we saw what happened. It's cool. We'll watch them, whatever. Y'all get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So like, you know, we go finish our food and we saw ambulance come by. I'm like, oh man, pray for this poor man. But you know,
they charged.
Yeah, man, it's crazy out there on the road.
And what's, I guess, like adversity, like a moment where you're like, we made it through this, we pushed through.
Same tour, just coming back from it, I guess. Like that was a funny, like sometimes you're on tour and like one date will pay for the whole tour, you know, so you're only making a little bit bread on every stop, but one stop you're making a ton of bread on. And that was the case with this tour. Our breadwinning stop got canceled. It got rained out or something like that. So it was like, yo, now all our bread for the tour is not around anymore, and we got to make it to point A to point B. We're going up the Midwest or whatever, and paying for extra hotels or whatever. And my manager was like tripping at the time, and he needed more bread and shit. So I broke him out some extra bread. By the time we come back, we stop at a casino, you know, right there at the Oklahoma-Texas border.
Yeah.
This fool took that extra bread I gave him and gambled that shit. And lost it all, bro.
Oh no.
And lost it all. So he's already begging me for extra bread, gets it, loses it all. So just like make it at home from something like that. And I remember like, I don't know who, one of the band members like post some shit on Facebook, Instagram or some shit. It's like, yo, we got back from tour and guess what? We still a band. Great success. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. Off the top of my head, that's you know, that's what I'm about. I'm vibing with that trip right now. You know, you got me back on memory lane.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I don't know, man. Like, there's been so many instances. Just even being in some rooms, you know, being in some rooms with some people. I remember being backstage at Red Rocks for a Badu concert, and we weren't even playing that show. But you know, we didn't. If the group wasn't around, I wouldn't be there. I'm pretty sure. And that was just like, wow.
Yeah, what are some fun moments like that?
Yeah, man. Or also like I didn't play, but can play with one of my other homies as Kid for Paranoia at the Hollywood Bowl. It was my first time to the Hollywood Bowl, opening for Badu or whatever. Amazing experience, man.
With moments like that, how do you keep yourself? How do you not let pride get in the way? Just like, hey, like we're putting in work, we're enjoying these moments instead of.
Oh, bro, because they go away so fast. And you get home and I'm at home and you're like, yeah, it's so fleeting. It's like, man, that was such an amazing moment. I wish I could do that every day or once a week or some shit. And it's just like, I'm not that fortunate yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, after you experience something like that too, you just like, you want it more. You need it more. You're like, yo, I belong here. You know, I'm cut for this. I'm made for this. Let's do this every day.
For you, let's talk about some homies. What are some people who are already blown up that are kind of like indie?
Yeah.
And some like local ones where like I wish like more people knew about them, like artist wise.
Oh, just like okay, I'm actually gonna take this time to just shout out some of the more underground people because if they're on, you know.
Yeah.
You know, good looking out, whatever. But like I think there's a list of people that I work with personally or you've even seen in town that I think are just like amazing or deserve, you know, some attention or whatever. One being Dana Harper. amazing voice. Just put out a single recently. We worked with her on another single before. Check her out. Another dude named Vonnie Cage. He has produced one of her singles as well. That's S1's son, but he is an artist on his own. So don't let that. I mean, it should only impress you, but
Yeah.
he's an artist on his own. He stands on his own 2 feet for sure. My homie Ori has a project super slept on. I think, what does he go by on Spotify? Like Ori Matisse or something like that.
Wait, what is it?
Ori Matisse.
Ori Matisse.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's super cold. I'm trying to think else. Frank Mocha, aka Dos Negros, super cold musician. I was just in his music video last week, so
Oh,
that was at the forefront of my brain. He's the one also that had Cam open up at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
He plays drums for Badu. Man, that's at the top of my head, and my close homies or whatever around the house got a group, the Grays, We Them Grays, super special group. Most of my backing band, love them to death. I don't know if their digital footprint is all the way right now, but you'll see more and more from them, like in town and stuff, and at big shows. And
so are they a band or
they're a family, bro?
Family?
Yeah. It's 2 brothers and a sister.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like cold. They're all cold in their own right.
What do they usually play?
Where do they usually play?
What do they? Both. Let's go both.
Yeah, man, they play everywhere. Last time I think I saw them was at Legacy Hall as well. I think they play the Echo Lounge next probably. And they just like killing.
And what's like the genre? That's what I meant. Right?
Okay, like R&B soul funk type shit. You know what I'm saying? Big band stuff. I mean, the ones that brought out the horns for us. Like Quentin is the youngest brother, keyboard player / MD. He's our MD as well. He's the one I was telling you about earlier that, he plays for Janet sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And what's a genre that you think, or a few genres where you're like, man, people should check this out more, like embrace it?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't really try to force genres down people's throat, and everything's such a hybrid now.
Yeah, that's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? Everything's.
Yeah.
I like the hybrid shit or whatever. I don't really feel like I'm putting nobody on to anything, but I mean, me personally, I like chill electronic type music or whatever. I like a lot of like Bon Iver and James Blake and like Radiohead, more ambient shit.
Oh yeah, James Blake is one of the ones that, I don't know, when I'm in that moment, I'm just feeling it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's more like forcing. It's more just like showing them, hey, you might like this.
Right.
There's a lot of shit out there where it's like, I've tried it, but I know I'm not feeling it, but I still tried it.
Right. And like I can name like some of these newer genres or new funk or whatever, like, all this shit. But I don't know. If you don't know it, you don't know it. It's all good.
Yeah, that's true. Because for me, it was always the one I always go back to is it's new disco.
Yeah.
Like that stuff makes me so happy. But I know my friends aren't feeling that, but it's for me. But if I ever feel like someone, you might like this,
I'm a weird dude, bro. I'm very particular what I like. I like a little bit out of every genre. It's a little tiny, the best out of every little bit genre.
So
I fuck with it, whatever.
Sliver?
Yeah, but I really don't like try to push my music on other people because it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
My musical taste.
All right, we're going to songs now.
Songs.
Yeah.
Am I in song mode yet?
We're going like most meaningful songs, like in Cure for Paranoia's catalog to you.
I thought I was about to go over somebody else's catalog, so I was thinking for a second. Most important songs in Cure for Paranoia's catalog.
Yeah.
Man.
Songs are just A1 or just
no. There's like I know exactly what you're saying because there are some that just like really just change our lives. There's actually songs can really change your lives. I'm gonna start off with number one, being the song. It's kind of slept on. It's called Freaky Friday, and it's featuring this artist from Houston. His name's Bun B. Y'all might have heard of him before.
Just maybe.
Yeah. UGK for life. Yeah. So that song was super special to me because one, Bun B is like one of my heroes. He's a Texas legend. And two, he was just so graceful with everything, bro. He is like one of the biggest hearts and open minds and one of the coolest people in the world. Bun B, major shout out. What he did for us is like, people don't do that. People don't give away verses or show up for music videos and stuff and just expecting nothing in return, And that all happened with us playing a show with him at like an art gallery or something. That's how that whole situation did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what was art gallery?
It's a place called Psychedelic Robot.
Psychedelic Robot.
Yeah. There used to be like kind of downtown at the Crescent, and then they moved the spot to like Willow Bend or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if they're still going or not.
Yeah, that's definitely not one. I need to go back and look because I didn't even know there was a song with Bun B.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw it pop up, like, you know how on Spotify they have like a "This Is" playlist for every major artist. Like, this is Bun B, this is Kanye, this is whatever. It's like
Yeah.
there's like Spotify greatest hits for them. I just saw like that song was like on "This Is Bun B's" playlist. I don't know if it's been there before or not,
Yeah.
but I saw it pop up. It was kind of tight.
Oh, that is tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And got any more like for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think. Other special, like our first anthem was called "Normal Person," and that one was just kind of like our identity in one song, and kind of caught on real fast. So that was like, introducing ourselves to everybody. That was a super special one. Remember, some of the homies hit me up, like I think I was talking to Blue the Misfit, Brandon Blue. He's in New York right now, but local staple. And he was like, "Yo, this sounds like nobody from here, and it sounds like all the way on. Like, it sounds professional. It sounds like nobody from here. Keep it up."
Yeah.
And that was like, I respect everything he does musically, so that meant a lot.
So it's not like professional, but it's like your identity too.
Yeah, man. It was a cool joint. Normal Person. And then I don't know, man. So in all honesty, there was a record we made starting like in 2018, I want to say, and it kind of got shelved during quarantine because like we were rolling it out and then everything stopped. And the record's called Center of the Maze, and it's like my magnum opus, big time. Like, it was the first time using horns, and the whole thing's so cohesive. And even though we recorded it early on during quarantine, Tony was out at the A Studios in Calabasas, and it was kind of shut down because people had COVID down there and shit. So we had some extra time with the engineers. So he recorded all our interludes. There's like 4 interludes on the joint where he's like doing some crazy funk shit. You know what I'm saying? And it glues everything together. And he was able to do that, because of COVID. But it was a gift and a curse, man. It got shelved for so long. We put it out this year. I think it's super, super slept on. It's like this whole like new funk type hip hop alternative shit. Got some great musicians on there. Frank's on there. Quentin arranged all the horns on there. Indombi is on there. She's amazing vocalist as well. Picnic Time, Mecca, Cold Chris. Cold Chris is a hip hop legend from Dallas. Mad Flavor. I don't know, man. So
how do you deal with songs like that? It's from what I haven't listened to that one, but it sounds like it's one of those songs where it's like it's A1, but like no one it's slept on.
So it got slept. Well, I mean, like, we didn't really talk about this much, and like, super no shade, but just be fully transparent. What happened is that during quarantine we lost pretty much one of our singers. We used to be a 4-piece band. Now we're closer to a 3-piece with a big band behind us, right? The singer decided he didn't want to do it no more for whatever reasons. I love him to death. He's doing his own solo stuff. Go check him out. Shout out San Francisco. But he decided he didn't want to do it anymore. So like, as we went to go play these songs in the future, like, we didn't have the main vocalist there.
Yeah.
So it's like, nah, we had to switch on to something else.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We had to pivot. So that's why I kind of got slept on. You know what I'm saying? Even though like there's some songs on there that got over 200,000 plays and shit. But that was from being released before as singles, not because of this release or whatever. So it's not like we did a big press release or did a big release show because we didn't have our singer anymore.
So it's like it just kind of slowly pushed out, but it's not.
Yeah,
we don't want to amp this up.
Yeah, it's like we couldn't, we couldn't go shoot more music videos for it. We really couldn't go play it the same way. I still want to. I still want to do it with like different vocalists. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a bunch of different people on there. I want to do a show where we do the whole record, from the front to the back, because it's really so fucking cohesive, bro. I'm not just like, if I didn't make the record, I would still be just as proud of it. You know what I'm saying? They don't make them like that no more.
And say the record again.
Center of the Maze.
Center of the Maze.
Center of the Maze. Yeah.
Who were? So we got Erykah Badu, Bun B. What are some other like artists you like, truly enjoy working with, either in the studio or like live?
So Johnny Venus from Earth Gang, man. Shout out Johnny Venus from Earth Gang. That we were talking about that track earlier. He's on a remix to a song called Slide By. And that was probably the greatest studio performance I've seen in my life, bro. Like, he's so talented, you understand, because he's like rapping with different cadences, but also singing and harmonizing all at the same time. And I'm like watching him pick this shit out on a keyboard, like in real time, while he just played a show at Trees with a bunch of glitter on his face. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's certain bars he's saying in the record that I could tell were completely influenced by my decor. You know, we had some Funko Pops up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So a couple bars about Lion King and shit while, you know, Mufasa's sitting on the fucking speaker.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then another just A1 musician I like working with, and it wasn't actually on our record, it was on one of Tony Williams' record. I think he just hit over 1 million streams too. A guy from Maverick City Music called Chandler Moore. Massive artist, Grammy Award winning, amazing performer. Like he just like went in and killed the shit. It was a song called Anymore.
Okay.
And they shot the music video. I remember, you remember back in I was last year or the year before, where like all the Ye's Instagram disappear.
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd just do one and it disappear. And he'd just do one disappear. But one time, that one was that song. It was the music video for that song. Yeah. And that's all it took, bro. Yeah.
That's crazy. So it was like just that.
So that wasn't even a collaboration with me, bro. That was literally me being in the studio, like as like a co-producer, just like somebody, a fly on the wall at that point. I'm not even sure. But yeah, man, amazing. And then also, like, let me shout out one more time Tony Williams, because a lot of those sessions wouldn't have happened without him. There'd be no Ty Dolla $ign co-write. There'd be no Earth Gang. There'd be no Chandler Moore without Tony Williams. So that's been a lot of love, man. A lot of guidance. Yeah, a lot of OG shit. Yeah. We're fortunate to have him local. He's in Fort Worth, so it's crazy.
I want to get in your producer bag.
Okay.
Yeah. As a producer, like, what's your process, and when you're listening, how do you hear like, hey, this is it? Like, what are you looking for? It's just,
man, as a producer, I'm literally just like glorified person with taste, or like my personal taste. I'm an ultra opinionated person with taste. I really just try to sit back as much as possible and let what's best for the song happens. I don't like to impose my opinions too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times it comes down to a preference thing, not like if it's better for the song.
Yeah.
If it's better for the song, then I'm going to speak up. But if it's just a preference thing, I'm going to shut the fuck up. It's cool. I got other songs to battle about. You know, I like to choose my battles.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Ask me something more specific.
Basically, okay. So if you're choosing your own battles, when do you know it's that time? Like, how do you know it's that moment to fight your battle? Like,
Okay.
Like you hear that song, like, okay, this is one we need to push for.
Yeah. So, I work with open-minded people and has done this for a long time. So a lot of times you have to at least A/B it. You have to at least try it out. If you're not able to try it out so people can A/B and hear it, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I can at least, if I believe in something, I'll at least get it to the point where somebody else can hear it. And then we can decide from there what's better. But if I never had the chance, I'm just like, pitching it, from just like a verbal standpoint, that don't mean shit. So if I'm telling you, yo, this would be better double timed here, or this would be better half timed here, like maybe, but I'm like, yo, listen to this. If it goes halftime and I play it for you and it's halftime, you're like, you're right. You're right.
So having them hear both of those, it's like it just clicks in their brain, whichever one they prefer, whichever one that is truly.
Yeah, because a lot of times, that's a lot of the back and forth in the studio. It's like, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. You can't do either of them, bro. They're both probably gonna sound cool. People probably won't even notice. That's the sad part. It's like when you realize, yo, people aren't really gonna notice this. It's just a preference thing. But
what do you mean? Like, how will they not notice?
Like if I play a song right now with the hi-hat pattern, one way, and I switch the hi-hat pattern from you, unless like you're like,
unless I'm like, now that you've told me, I'll be listening, but otherwise I may not hear.
Exactly. Or it might not like affect the song ultimately, like, oh, this song sucks now because that one thing was different, or like, you know what I'm saying, like, or like, this is really cool to me, or like this sounded off. If it don't sound off, then it's not really wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's not a right or wrong or a better or worse. There's different. Not with everything. Don't get me wrong. Which with a lot of studio decisions, a lot of production decisions, there's just fucking different.
What's something where you did that A/B where it's like, hey, like
it happens it happens every day. It happens all the time, man, all the time. And then if I'm trying to impose an idea and it's not working out, I'll put that bitch somewhere else in the song. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll go to Freaky Friday with the Bum B shit. Like we were working with another homie by the name of Dreek, a producer in town, on that one, and I think I wasn't in for every single session on that song at the beginning. So it came out a way, that I wasn't around for, so I didn't get to grow with it or adapt to it. So when it came time to finish it off or whatever, I'm like, I'm not gonna try to change the whole song, but let's go ahead and do a weird atmospheric screw part at the end with some crazy harmonies. You know what I'm saying? So we
Yeah.
did that. So you have this whole extra part at the end that's like trippy.
So
Sound like ASAP Rocky or some shit.
is there? I know this is like a habit lately with a lot of songs where, especially, well, mainly in rap, where I'm listening, where it's beat change, beat change, beat change, where it's like 3 different beat changes. Is it? Do you think there's like, can there be too much of that?
Can there be too much of that?
Can it be overwhelming? Because I like it, but I feel like
I think everything should be done with taste, bro. And a lot of times taste is done with moderation. A lot of times things are way more impactful if you do them once in a song or twice in a song versus every fucking 4 bars.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, like if you have 1 or 2 songs in an album that has that beat switch that's dramatic, that could be cool. But if like every song is like that, they could be 3 different songs. You know what I'm saying? You can have 15 songs in your album instead of 5 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not always necessary.
Yeah. 'Cause I feel like there's sometimes the song's still amazing, but I also feel like it could be 2 amazing songs instead of, like you said,
Right.
1 amazing song
And
with a bunch of beat switches.
I find out with the beat change songs, I always have a preference. Like, yo, this song's cool, but when the beat change happens, it's my favorite shit in the entire world.
This part of the beat change is my favorite. Yeah.
Like on a Pyramids, or Nike, some Frank Ocean shit.
Yeah.
It's like
this is it.
Yeah,
this is what I wanted.
Yeah, everything in moderation, man. Do this shit tastefully. But there's also no rules, so fuck it.
Yeah.
You can put out like one of those songs could be 3 different songs with the 2 different beat changes. You know what I'm saying? And you all of a sudden somebody's listening to that. You got 3 times as many streams because that's how you arrange it when you put it out.
Yeah. And say, wait, this sounds like it's the same song.
So you're making 3 times the amount of money by splitting it up.
Yeah.
So there's different reasons people do different shit.
Yeah. So it's preference, strategy. It's all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above.
I think I want to.
I like beat changes though. I really do.
Oh no, I feel them. It makes me happy. I just start grinning.
Because like even like good songs that aren't hip hop shit, like you hear like not beat changes, but you hear maybe beat changes, but a lot of times like key changes that will get you like, yo, where the fuck is this going?
Yeah. It like builds up anticipation for whatever's happening next. All right, I'm gonna end with this, bro.
We're done already. We had so much fun though.
No,
I don't talk this much though.
I just want to, for like any new musicians, leave them like with like 1 or 2 kernels, like something that they could push forward with, and like apply to like
to their craft.
Yeah, to their craft, to going forward.
Yeah. I think let's just reflect on what we talked about. Let's do like a recap of what we talked about on this podcast or whatever. So like, play towards your strengths would be number 1. Know what you do best. And I'm saying don't only do that. Don't develop anything else because you can get better at different aspects. But know that's your strength and lean on that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Focus on your strength and then like
and develop
parts.
Focus on your strength, develop your weaknesses, but your weaknesses could be somebody else's strength. So lean on those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's 1.
Which leads into collaboration.
Collaboration.
Like finding the people, if you got those weak spots, hey, like, can you write this bio for me? Hey, can you do these keys for me?
Leave your ego at the door. Leave your ego at the door. There's time and place for that somewhere else. You have all the songs in the world to write. We don't need that ego for this song. Recognize your story, recognize your narrative. That's so important and so slept on. Once you figure that out, a bunch of doors are gonna open for you. And kind of like don't be down on yourself. Don't expect too much from this shit. You can make it happen, but a lot of times for most of these songs to blow up, majority of songs to blow up, people are using like $300,000 budgets on a single. If you ain't got $300,000 to spend on a single, your single's not gonna have the same results, and that's okay. There's other ways to market your shit without spending that much money, but you are gonna get different results, and that's completely fine.
So which goes back to not being prideful, like being aware of like, hey, this is the way it's gonna work for me. Is I'm not that person, but then leaning on someone else's strength. If there's someone else who can market like a 10th of as well as that person with half the budget, then you can still get something out there. I mean, it's not gonna be the same, but it's something better than just leaning on yourself and not getting it out there at all.
There you go. I think the right management is super important. You have the wrong manager that throw you all the way off, but the right management is super important. But, if you're not ready for that, you're not ready for that. That doesn't come until you're actually making bread or you're potentially making bread, because nobody wants to work for free. You know what I'm saying? And as an artist or as a creative, a lot of times, our focus is not on the monetary shit or the business shit. We want to just make art all day, every day, and that leaves us ignorant in some areas,
Yeah.
not as well versed in some areas, and find somebody that can make up for that lack.
Which also will be another good thing is knowing that you're weak in those areas. Because sometimes
Yeah,
people, since we love the craft, we love whatever we're creating, you can kind of be blindsided by, oh, I need to focus on this too, or at least look into it so you can find someone who's knowledgeable about it.
right.
Yeah.
And it takes the whole package. You know what I'm saying, to break through those thresholds. You can be good at a couple of those things, but it really takes a team. If you look at anybody that's really doing this, they got a really like knit together team.
Yeah.
And even though people aren't getting shine, behind the scenes and stuff like that, they're making shit happen.
Yeah.
So you as one person, if you're not making the same headway as somebody that's a 20-person team, you're not going to, and that's okay. Just find your one person at a time and build your shit up. Find people that believe in you, and that will make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah,
20 gems right there.
20 gems right there.
All right, so mention the socials, and what was the name of the Tiny Desk? Is Tiny Desk Cure for Paranoia, or like how
Oh
did you
yeah,
find
so
that?
Tiny Desk is kind of tight because we have the video of it on our YouTube, right?
Okay,
And then we put out the audio on Spotify.
got it.
And I
Okay.
could have put it out as one 10-minute track, but
Mhm.
we decided to put it out as two like
Okay.
5-minute tracks or whatever, but they're seamless to go right into each other.
Perfect. So it'd be those two clips, or those two songs,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the YouTube video.
Yeah, it's literally says Tiny Desk Submission on Spotify. One's called Unbothered. One's called That Kid Cam. When is this going to air, bro? Can I ask you?
Oh, it's gonna be out today.
We live streaming. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So we're about to play a show on November 18th, a free show,
Mhm.
downtown Deep Ellum. We'll be playing with the Bowling for Soup, with Reverend Run and Dougie Fresh for the 50th hip hop anniversary. So bring your asses out to Deep Ellum, November 18th. We should be, on around like 3 or 4.
Oh shit.
So
Come
daytime
on out.
show. It's not
Yeah,
dangerous
yeah.
during the day.
All right. With that, take care and live a life led without regret.